Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey. CBS News ran a story some time ago entitled, "The Best of America." It concerned a certain man named Dale Best of Indianapolis. He was 72 years old. Twice in the preceding years, the White River had flooded his subdivision, a subdivision of 150 homes, but neither the federal nor the state authorities would prevent future flooding, feeling that it was not economically viable to spend $300 million to rebuild the half-mile of levee that it would have corrected the problem. So Dale Best decided to take the matter into his own hands. He went out and bought a bulldozer. Investing $28,000 of his own money in this big project, he worked day after day to build a new levee using rocks and concrete junk. The city was so impressed with his progress that they donated tons of clay that he needed. And finally, the levee was completed, 30 feet high and half a mile long. Dale Best became a hero because he volunteered, invested, and worked until the job was done. He was a happy man because he served his community. Now, the Bible has a lot to say about serving. Take, for example, the story of the Last Supper. Jesus got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, wrapped a towel around his waist, and after that he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. When he had washed their feet, he said to them, "If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example, that you also should do just as I have done. Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, happy are you if you do them." That's John chapter 13. So we are happy when we serve others. That's why I think Dale Best was a happy man. He served others. Other scriptures came to mind about serving. Speaking about himself, Jesus said, "For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others, and to give his life as a ransom for many." He also said, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it for me." And elsewhere in the Bible we read, "Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might." Serving. For several years, my wife and I ministered to Albanian immigrants in England. Perhaps the most famous ethnic Albanian of our era was Mother Teresa, of whom they were justly proud. A couple of things Mother Teresa said about serving have stuck with me. She explained her service to the poor people of Calcutta like this. "First, we meditate on Jesus, and then we go out and look for him in disguise. Sometimes a most distressing disguise." She also said, "I don't do big things. I do little things with big love." As you serve others, look for Jesus in disguise. Serve with big love. Wait a minute, you may say. I came here to relax and enjoy the leisure. I'm here for lifestyle with life care. But surely having a servant mentality is part of a worthy lifestyle. In 1959, I began my studies at the University of California in Berkeley. Now and again, I would have occasion to head northeast out of the San Francisco Bay Area on Interstate 680, which involved crossing the Benicia Bridge over the Sacramento River at Suisun Bay. There on my right rested the rusting hulls of 324 grey military ships in mothballs, perfectly lined up, side by side, in rows of 12, moored a few yards offshore. The ships belonged to the National Defence Reserve Fleet, which consists of vessels that could be activated relatively quickly to provide shipping for the USA during national emergencies. They were never needed. Once upon a time, those ships had been filled with fuel, with munitions and supplies. They were on active duty. Now they were empty hulks, with their decks stripped of their guns and armour. Their engines were silent, their crews scattered. They were floating tombs. Today, I understand, only 12 ships remain in Suisun Bay. The others have been taken away and stripped for scrap metal. Some of us may have thought we were coming to Shell Point to retire. But unlike those ships in Suisun Bay, we've been reclaimed and brought back into service. John Wesley said, "Leisure and I have taken leave of one another. I propose to be busy as long as I live, if my health is so long indulged it to me. Lord, let me never live to be useless." So as for you and as for me, as long as our health permits, let's keep up the good work of serving others, showing initiative and sacrifice and perseverance like Dale Best with his bulldozer, looking for the face of Jesus in disguise, doing little things with great love. In contrast to those mothballed ships, let's see ourselves as reclaimed and brought back into service. As Jesus said, "If you know these things, happy are you if you do them." And thank you for tuning in to Village Church Connections.